So, as you know, today we are going to be talking about something known as the triple play method.
We don't want no heroes, we don't need no heroes. So sick of labels, we don't want no heroes, we don't want no heroes.
Now, so many people have requested that I make this video. I explained this during class, but I'll explain it again here on how to do it and all the steps. If I can go to the eraser. Okay, so let's start with the basic problem. Like x squared plus 3x minus 10. Now you don't even need the triple play method for this because that coefficient over here is 1. And if that coefficient a is equal to 1, then you do not need the triple play method. If a is greater than 1, then you would need the triple play method. So for this problem, you would just factor it as usual. If you don't know how to factor, you would look for the different factors of 10. So 10 is 2 and 5, 10 and 1. So one of them has to be negative. Which one will create 3? Well, obviously 5 minus 2. So x minus 2, taking that part, and x plus 5, taking that part. And we can check ourselves by doing double distributive, x squared, and then negative 2x and 5x are going to make that 3x, and then negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. So that's just normal factoring. Now you need to know how to do factoring in order to do the triple play method. So now let's take a harder expression which has a greater than 1. So over here for this one, the first step in using the triple play method is taking the a and multiplying it by the c. So as you know, the quadratic is an ax squared plus bx plus c. So a is going to be 6, and c is going to be negative 1. So that gets us to negative 6. So what we want to do is then we take our equation. We have x squared plus 3x minus 6, because we took that a and we multiplied it by the negative 1. So now we have this expression is easier to factor since it has an a of 1. So we would take x, and let's take a look at the factors of 6, 2, and 3, 6, and 1. Which one of these will create 3? So it turns out I actually created this problem wrong. That was supposed to be minus 30. So we're just going to start over. 6x squared plus 3x minus 30. Now, like I said, first step, take the a and multiply it by the c. So 6 times negative 30 is going to be negative 180. So we're going to get x squared plus 3x and then minus 180. So now that we have that sorted out, next we're going to do the next step. So the next step is to factor that. So factoring that should be pretty easy now. Actually, it's not that easy because we have to find all the different factors of 180. Now, this is a time-consuming process. You just have to divide it by as many numbers as you can find out. So let's see how long this takes me. 18 divided by 5, 36. Minus 5, that won't work. 180 divided by 10 maybe? No, that would make 18. 12. Is it divisible by 12? 12 and 15. Okay. So we got 12 and 15. So it kind of deleted my progress, so let me just quickly recreate what I had. Okay, so we found out that the factors of, if you divide 180 by 12, then you get 15, and we know 15 minus 12 can create 3. So we can take x plus 15 and x minus 12. Now, in this step of the process, we are definitely nowhere near being done, because we still have a third step to complete. And that third step is going to be to take that. Remember how we took away the 6? Well, now we have to bring it back into the expression. So we're going to bring 6x back, but don't get me wrong, you don't multiply the entire expression. This part, the 15 part, stays the same. It's just that the x changes to 6x, since the 6 is what we took out. Now, 6 times 6 is 36. So we need to take out one of the 6's. How do we do that? We divide it by 6. I'm getting crowded here. I just move. Okay, so how do we do this? Because obviously both of those expressions aren't divisible by 6. You can't divide 6 by 15. So how we're going to do this is we're going to take the factors of 6. Let's take 2 times 3, because that equals 6. And then we'll divide 2 times 3 by, I have to erase this. Okay, we'll divide 2 times 3 by our previous expression, 6x plus 15, and 6x minus 12. So, 2 and 3. It's simple. This step is the easy step. Which part can we divide by 2? Obviously, this part. And this part can be divided by 3. So, let's take this part, divide it by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 15 divided by 3 is 5. Second part, 6 divided by 2 is 3. 12 divided by 2 is 6. And we can check that. If we do 3x times 2x, we get 6x squared. Good. 5 times 3 is 15x minus 12x is 3x. Good. And 5 times negative 6 is negative 30. Good. So, if that was a bit confusing for you, then I'll quickly recap. The first step is to multiply the a and the c in the expression and replace it with the c, and the a will turn into 1. The second step, after you have that, you need to factor it. So just factor your new expression, whatever you had. Step number 3 is you have this expression of x plus whatever, I'm just going to call it y, and then x minus, let's say, z, or plus z. So after you have this expression, then what you're going to do is you took that starting a away. So you're going to put it back into the expression. And then since you can't have two a's, you have to divide it by a. Now, most of the time, both expressions won't be divisible by a, so you have to turn a into its factors. Let's say its factors are d and f. And then one of the expressions, let's call this the first and second, the first expression could be divisible by d, and the second expression could be divisible by f. This might still sound shaky to you. So, in that case, I'm going to do 2 more example problems. And then after those example problems are done, okay, first let me think of one example problem. Okay, let's see here. What do we want to put? Okay, so let's go back. I just thought of a new example problem. So let's take 2x squared minus 13x plus 15. Okay, step 1, multiply a by c. X squared minus 13x, and then 2 by 15 is 30. Boom. Second step, factor it. Let's look at the factors of 30, 10, and 3. Both of them either have to be both positive or both negative in order to get a positive. 10 plus 3 obviously isn't going to make negative 13, so negative 10 and negative 3 would make negative 13, since two negatives still make that positive. So we have our negative 10 and then our negative 3. Then, step 3 is to bring back that 2 which we took away. So let's bring back that 2. And then the step 4 is to divide the expression by 2. What are the factors of 2? 2 and 1. Which expression can you divide by 2? The first one. 3 isn't divisible by 2. And you can divide the second one by 1. So the first one, if you divide it by 2, you get 2 divided by 2 is x. And then negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. And our second part is just going to stay the exact same since we're dividing it by 1. And that should be our answer. Let's take a look. 2x times x is 2x squared. Then negative 10x minus 3x is negative 13. And negative 5 times negative 3 is 15. So far, so good. Now I'm going to take a super advanced problem, which might put you in so much confusion. So I'm preparing you, and I'll do it I'll try to explain it in the easiest way possible. So this problem already is going to sound menacing. 324x squared plus 117x minus 105. Oh my god. Oh, this is going to take a lot of factoring. Let's get started. Okay, so our first step, take the a and multiply by the c. That's already getting humongous. So x squared, we have our 1, but then we have to figure out what 105 times 324. Good thing we can use a calculator. 34020. Now this might take me so long to factor, but I'm not going to make that mistake. I am going to erase everything. Now, let's make this easier. 324x squared plus 117x minus 105. Let's find a common factor. So what can all of these numbers be divisible by? Well, let's try 324. 8? No. 6. 324 is divisible by 6. No. 3. All three of those numbers are divisible by 3. 324 divided by 3 is 108x squared. 117 divided by 3 is 39x. And 105 divided by 3 is 35. So now, obviously, the 3 isn't going to go anywhere. This whole expression is still being divided by 3. We just took out a 3. Now let's just focus on what's inside the parentheses to make this easier. Now we can take that a and multiply it by that c. So what's 108 times 35? Negative 3780. So, that's what we have so far. This is all going to get erased, so hopefully I can rewrite it in time. But we'll continue off right now, I guess. Okay, so where did we left off? 324 x squared plus 117x minus 105. Then what we did next is we factored out the 3, 108x squared plus 39x minus 35. Then we're focusing on the parentheses right now. So I'm going to leave the 3. Don't worry, 3. I'll take you back into the expression later. And then we did the a times c, and we got 3780. This is still pretty big. There is no other way. So I'm going to edit this part out, but it's time for me to figure out what factors can make 39. Okay, I just spent so long doing that. But I figured out that the two factors that make this are 84 and 45. 84 minus 45 is 39, and 84 times negative 45 is 3780. So finally we can factor that by doing, hopefully you won't have to do something as long as factoring that. Okay. At the end, I skipped one of the numbers and then I had to go to one of those GCF calculators online. Okay, so now that we have this, we need to bring back our lovely 108. So, oh, you've got to be kidding me. Is there a redo? Okay. Okay, this is where we were. We were at x plus 84 and x minus 45. And we were just going to bring back the 108. Yeah, I remember. Okay, so 108, and there's a 108 over here as well. Okay, so now all we have to do is divide the expression by 108. Remember that 3 is still hanging there. So, factors of 108 that we can use. Oh, please don't tell me that this will be a painstakingly painful process. 108. Okay, I'll be back in a second. So, the factors of 108, which I identified, are 12 and 9. So, which expression is divisible by 9? That one. Divisible by 12? That one. So, 108 divided by 12 is 9x plus, what's 84 divided by 12? 7. Boom. Second one, 9 divided by 108. 12x minus, what's 45 divided by 9? 5. Boom, boom, boom. It looks like we're done, but remember, a friendly 3 has to come back into the expression. After so long, we are done. Now, I'm going to quickly check this by using my calculator. 12 times 9 is 108x squared, which is good. And the next part of it should be 39x. So 7 times 12, 84. 9 times 5, 45, 84. Minus 45 should be 39. Yes, so far we're doing good. And then 7 times 5 is negative 35. And then, of course, if we take that expression and multiply it by 3, we get our original expression. Now, that might have confused you by means. We started off with this. Now, if you want to substitute the 3, you can only multiply the 3 by one of the expressions. 1. You cannot multiply the 3 by both. Otherwise, you'll get a big bad thing. So 3 times 9 is 27x. And then 3 times 7 is 21. And then the other expression would stay the same. Do not multiply the other expression by the 3. And then that should equal our 324. And it does. I just checked. that's how you factor an expression like that. If you have a question about this, leave it in the comments, and I'll talk to you specifically at school. Bye.